When Terri Blackstock was just 11 years old, she wrote a poem that was published in the local newspaper. From that point on, she knew she wanted to be a writer. Well, since then, Terri's unique brand of up-all-night fiction has kept millions of readers in suspense and given them hope along the way.
Terri Blackstock's career took off after her first romance novel. When writing for the secular market took a toll on her spiritual life, she began writing suspense novels for a Christian audience. Today, she's a New York Times best-selling author with over 7 million copies sold worldwide. In her latest thriller, If I'm Found, Terri keeps readers on the edge of their seats as female fugitive Casey Cox is on the run, fleeing prosecution from a murder she didn't commit.
Terri Blackstock is here with us now. Welcome back. It's good to have you with us.
Thank you, Terri. It's great to be here.
It was mentioned in that piece that you started out doing romance novels and then took a turn to suspense, which is a very different kind of writing. What was that journey for you?
Well, I was a Christian when I went into that market, and I had gotten involved with a group of writers who were breaking into romance. And it seemed like a great place to break into the market. And so I did 32 of those. I did that for 13 years.
Wow.
But I compromised and began adding things that I never intended to do in the first place. And eventually it took its toll on my spiritual life.
So talk a little bit about this particular book. The latest is If I'm Found, and you had me hooked last night. I was up till the wee hours reading. Tell us about this story.
Well, this is from the If I Run series. The first book is If I Run, and it's about a female fugitive named Casey she's accused of murdering her best friend. And instead of, calling the police when she found his body, she ran, did all the wrong things. And she's an unbeliever, and I'm trying to show Christianity from the eyes of an unbeliever. And there is a Christian in the book who is he's the one hunting her. He's the Tommy Lee Jones character, but he's a Christian, a wounded Christian.
This is the second in a trilogy. There's one coming out soon, If I Live, right? So when you have a 3-part series like that, is it all in your head before you begin number 1, or do you know it's going to be a trilogy?
I pretty much, well, I did know this was going to be a trilogy, and I pretty much know how the story arc is going to go for the whole series. But I have to figure each book out. And I do want each book to stand on its own.
So that someone could come in and read this without having done book number 1.
And they would still get all the information they need. And of course, it's not a cliffhanger. It's a satisfying ending that takes you to the next book.
It's more holding you in suspense as the answers are unraveled. You say that Casey Cox is one of your favorite characters that you've created. Why?
Well, she's very whimsical, and she loves people, but she's in this predicament where she has to hide. So she goes to a new community in each book, and she's hiding out, and she's just drawn to people. And I like to put her with Christians because then she sees new facets of Christianity that she hadn't considered before.
She and the man chasing to find her in the book, not in a bad way, but really seeking to help unravel this mystery in her life, both have something in common.
Yes.
What is that?
PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. He was an Army veteran, and he has come back, and he's now working as a private investigator to find her. But he suffers from a serious form of it, and he just can't overcome it. And he begins to realize that she has it too, because she had some incidents in her past that were very traumatic. And so that's how they begin to relate to each other, and then he begins to understand her a little better.
So in writing something like this, where 2 of your characters now have PTSD, you must have had to do some research into that.
I did, and I was shocked to find that 22 U.S. veterans a day commit suicide.
A day?
A day. And 1 in 3 coming home from the war, especially the combat veterans, have PTSD. And it's just shocking to know that that's happening. But there are people in the population who have it as well because they've had trauma. So I got very interested in that, and I just want to raise awareness about it.
Well, when someone struggles with that, if they have a family, if they're married at all, then the whole family struggles as a result of it.
Yeah, because they have trouble coping with life. And one person said they go from 0 to rage in 60 seconds. They just can't seem to control their emotions, and they need help. And there are a lot of therapies available.
One of the things that you say about all of the books that you write is that you want them to give hope to people in the end. So how do you plant that in what you're doing so that it's the end result?
Well, I just try to show them that, in this world you have trouble, but I have overcome the world, Jesus said. And Dylan learns, he kind of comes back to his faith through watching Casey come to her faith. And I'm kind of giving away some of book 3. But that is the story arc, that they kind of bring each other back. And that's where true healing is found in Christ. And even though they have struggles they may need to work through together, they have a purpose now, which is something they didn't have before, and that always helps.
I read If I'm Found last night. This is the second in a 3-part trilogy. When is If I Live out?
Well, I just finished it. So it's got to go through the editorial process, and we'll get it out as soon as we can.
Is that a couple of months, or what does that look like?
A little bit longer, yeah. I wish it were faster, but I took a long time writing it.
Well, when you complete something like this, are you already off and running to the next project, or
Yes.
you are?
Yes, I'm already, I just turned that book in Wednesday of last week, and now I'm thinking about the next book, which it'll be a Christmas book, actually. It's going to be a romance, a Christmas romance.
Did you ever have any idea? I mean, here you were wanting to be a writer with, the experience you had as a child. Did it ever occur to you you'd have this kind of popularity?
Never. Oh, no. And when I came into the Christian market, I thought I was really reducing my market, but that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to glorify God. And he has just multiplied it. It's just, it's shocking to me.
But wonderfully shocking.
Yes.
Well, it's wonderful to read a book where the author's done her homework, and this is just one of those. If I'm Found is a part of a trilogy. It's available in stores nationwide. Keep watching for If I Live, because that's the 3rd one to come out. If you haven't had a chance to read the first book in the series, you can get that, and that one is
If I Run.
If I Run. So If I Run, If I'm Found, If I Live, all well worth your read. Terri, it's great to see you again.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.